A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another comic review. This time we are looking at Star Wars Volume 1, Skywalker Strikes by Marvel Comics. This is an absolutely fantastic series. I am loving every issue, all of the new lore that is being brought to the Star Wars universe. It's really cool. The art is fantastic. So, I'm not going to kind of preamble about anything here. I'm just going to get straight into the next episode of... So this is Star Wars Volume 1, Skywalker Strikes, published by Marvel Comics. I apologize if you can hear some kind of noise in the background, but it's cold over here in South Korea and the heater has gone on. Let's get this thing opened. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah, I'm not going to do it because of the copyright issues, but Skywalker Strikes. It is a period of renewed hope for the rebellion. The evil Galactic Empire's greatest weapon, the Death Star, has been destroyed by the young rebel pilot Luke Skywalker. With the Imperial forces in disarray, the rebels look to press their advantage by unleashing a daring offensive throughout the far reaches of space, hoping to defeat the Empire once and for all, and at last restore freedom to the galaxy. Okay, that's better. No glare. All right. So we have a shuttle that is heading towards a planet. Of course, the Imperials on the planet are asking for their credentials, which check out. This is a Tatooine shuttle. So the Imperials here, this is a weapons factory, and they believe they are negotiating with the Hutts for resources, primarily Jabba the Hutt. Thus, Han Solo is the face of this negotiation because he is a well-known accomplice of Jabba the Hutt. This is set after A New Hope and before The Empire Strikes Back. The Imperials, basically being Imperial, like, just check their credentials and all that kind of crap. But Chewbacca has been kind of planted as the, kind of like a sniper in case things go wrong. So Han talks his way into this negotiation for resources, accompanied by R2-D2 and his two guards. The Imperial, of course, is skeptical, but basically tells him the negotiator for this deal is going to arrive shortly. At this point, R2 releases some fluid and electrocutes all the stormtroopers, giving Han the upper hand to get the jump on this Imperial guy. And we find out that the two accomplices with him are, of course, Luke and Leia. Leia takes out the Imperial officer, and they head on into this weapons factory. They have left C-3PO back with the Millennium Falcon, which is hiding in a junkyard. Their plan is to destroy this munitions factory. Pardon me. Luke kind of gets off track a little bit and finds a bunch of slaves of all different species. The slaver attacks him, but of course Luke easily takes him down and frees the slaves. At this point, Han and Leia are having a little back and forth, which they do a lot in this comic series. Leia's just thanking him for putting his face out there now. She knows he's wanted by the Hutts, but now he's going to have an Imperial bounty on his head. And Luke brings the slaves back up, at which point the negotiator arrives, and we find out that it is Vader who is going to be the chief negotiator with his retinue of stormtroopers. Chewie lets Han know, and then tries to take Vader out. Of course, a useless thing to do, because Vader just deflects all of the blaster bolts. And ultimately, Vader sees where the sniper is coming from and brings the whole kind of tower down. Han, freaking out, tells C-3PO that you've got to bring the Falcon around, put it on autopilot and bring it around. But the Falcon is being salvaged, I guess you would say, by an alien race. The alarms go off, everyone starts freaking the fuck out, and then Han realizes, you know what, let's use their own weapons against them, and we'll get into an AT-AT, all-terrain attack transport. Now, at this point, I just fucking love, because we see these on Hoth. In the original trilogy, we don't see them anywhere else. I love that they are using the vehicles that we know and love from the original movies. And I'm not talking the prequels or the, you know, the end of the Skywalker saga. I'm talking old school original trilogy vehicles. This is fucking awesome. So they get in the AT-AT. Luke at this point is being drawn towards Vader, but he hears Obi-Wan's voice in his head telling him to run. And that ends the first issue of the Star Wars comic. Moving into issue 2. Luke and Vader have a showdown. At this point, Vader doesn't realize that Luke was the pilot that blew up the Death Star. He yanks the lightsaber out of his hand and is about to execute him in the same manner that Anakin executed Count Dooku at the beginning of Rise of the Sith, or Revenge of the Sith, sorry. But before he can do it, the foot of an AT-AT comes crashing down. Han and Leia to the rescue. At this point, the battle goes completely tits up. The slaves that Luke had rescued start to be slaughtered by Vader using Luke's lightsaber. Han and Leia are kind of arguing over, you know, what we should do, where we should go, so to speak. At this point, they are calling 3PO, and they're saying, you've got to get the Millennium Falcon to where we are. 3PO, being the coward that he is, doesn't want to use the blaster that Han left in the Millennium Falcon, goes out and surrenders. Now, just a quick aside, in the West End version of the Star Wars role-playing game, you could actually play as a 3PO droid. That could be your character. That, to me, is fucking hilarious. I love the idea. So 3PO goes out there and basically surrenders. Luke, trying to save the rest of the slaves, realizes he's not a Jedi yet. He doesn't really have the power to do this. However, he was a farm boy on Tatooine, and he sees a bunch of speeder bikes. Again, these are the speeder bikes from Return of the Jedi. the Endor chase, the classic Endor chase. Now, as a kid, my brother and I actually had the toy, which is awesome. It came with a Scout Stormtrooper with the Scout helmet. But as you played with the speeder bike, there was a button on the back, and you could press it, and the thing just exploded. Like, everything literally flew off it. It's fucking awesome. Such a good toy. I love the speeder bike chase in Return of the Jedi. Oh, man. Just getting nostalgia flashbacks. So Luke jumps on the speeder bike and basically goes apeshit. At this point, Vader has realized the rebels are in the AT-AT, and you can see he's using the Force to stop the leg from crushing him. They are trying to stomp on him. They realize it's not going to work, so they use the weaponry to attack. They're calling to Luke. They're calling to 3PO. 3PO at this point has basically shit the bed, as C-3PO often does. Sorry for all those C-3PO fans, but Luke has more things on his mind. Vader at this point tells the stormtroopers, go after the rebels, but the boy is mine. Fantastic art as well in these comics. They capture the, I don't know, the mood of the characters, I guess. Might be a wrong thing to say, but if you look, like, how menacing does Vader look in that picture? It's just brilliant. We move on to issue 3, where Vader is kind of, you know, doing his menacing thing as Han and Leia are trying to get this AT-AT out of the way. At this point, they're still calling to 3PO, but Chewie shows up. Chewie wasn't killed, of course, we know this, but still was a little bit of a cliffhanger. He's at the Millennium Falcon, and he is rescuing 3PO and getting the Falcon battle ready, because Han and Leia realize they are outgunned, and now we see the AT-STs, all-terrain scout transport. We saw these two-legged walkers in Return of the Jedi during the Endor sequence. Again, if you watch the special editions of Star Wars, you do see these vehicles, like you see some of these on Hoth, but traditionally, you first saw these in Return of the Jedi. I mean, that's just the way it was, and they are still fucking awesome. I just love these fucking vehicles. Oh my god. Okay, so Luke is doing his thing and kicking ass and taking names. At this point, Vader has gone up to the AT-AT that Han and Leia are in and has decided to, you know what, let's disable it by cutting its fucking leg off, which he manages to do. The AT-AT comes down. Han and Leia escape. Luke comes on in the, pardon me, on his speeder bike. And Vader throws a shit fit because they got away, so to speak. Luke tells Han and Leia, I've got to go finish what we started. We've got to blow up this weapons factory. So he takes the speeder bike in to the weapons factory and ends up completing the mission, blowing up the weapons factory itself. He expects to die, but he is in fact rescued, and the Falcon gets away. You can see they managed to save some of the slaves that Luke kind of rescued in the ship. The Falcon jumps to light speed, and Vader is noticeably pissed off. Luke is very despondent. He doesn't feel like a Jedi. He thinks he let everyone down. He thinks he let Kenobi down. and he's starting to question his worth. At this point, we move to Tatooine. You can tell it's Tatooine because it has the twin suns. And there are some raiders in a speeder, the same kind of speeder that we saw Luke pilot in A New Hope. And they are kind of going past Kenobi's hut. And then we see that Kenobi has left a box, and inscribed on the top of the box, it says, for Luke. So that ends issue 3, I believe. We move into issue 4. Issue 4 starts with one of the great locations in the original Star Wars trilogy, and that is Jabba'S Palace. It's such an iconic image. And even look at the cover for issue 4. Like, this cover is fucking amazing for Star Wars fans. I mean, if you're just getting into Star Wars, you look at it and go, well, whatever. But if you've been a lifelong Star Wars fan, that cover just blows my fucking mind. We have Bib Fortuna, we know is Jabba's Major Domo, the Twi'lek, and Vader has come to Jabba'S Palace because the Emperor wants resources after the Death Star had blown up. We have the Gamorrean Guard here. I just love the art in this comic. I'm sorry, I just absolutely fucking love it. Jabba basically is Jabba. Darth Vader refuses to negotiate. So we get this back and forth between Jabba and Vader, which, if you've actually watched the Clone Wars movie, you'll know that Anakin knows Jabba very, very well. Even the Phantom Menace, young Anakin was living on Tatooine. Jabba was running the pod races. So this is just, I don't know, it's just iconic. I absolutely love it. At this point, Han is trying to get parts for the Millennium Falcon. The fleet is in space. We don't have a base yet. So this isn't Hoth. This is between those movies. Leia goes to the council where we have Mon Mothma, General Dodonna, a few others. Mon Mothma, of course, huge part of the new Andor TV show, which I've heard that a lot of people hate Andor. That's too boring. In my opinion, it's one of the best Star Wars TV shows out there. I am absolutely loving Andor. The Rise of the Rebellion. It's just great. And they talk about needing to find a new home planet. They cannot go back to Yavin 4 because the Empire knows that Yavin 4 was their home base. Luke is training with his little droid when he's interrupted by Leia. And he lets Leia know that, listen, I don't know who I am, but I am a danger being here, so I am going to head off. We go to Tatooine again, where a bounty hunter is confronting some Rodians. The Rodians inform her in no short term, she's looking for Han Solo. And they let her know that Han killed Greedo. Who shot first is a matter of debate. You can say that Han shot first. You can say that Greedo shot first. Quite frankly, I don't fucking care. Either one is awesome. The bounty hunter ends up getting the best of the Rodians and getting the information that she needs. Now, at this point, Jabba has taken Vader on a bantha hunt, and Salacious Crumb here is doing his little giggle Vader hates it and tells Jabba, if that creature does that laugh again in my presence, he will be killed. Salacious Crumb, of course, being, I believe the species is like a spider monkey or something, but go and look at my review of Tales from Jabba'S Palace and you'll get all you need to know. So the negotiations, if you could call them that, kind of come to an end. At this point, Vader becomes interested in the pilot that took out the Death Star. Jabba insinuates that he has given bounty hunters to Vader without the Emperor's knowledge. At this point, Luke leaves. He's going off to kind of work shit out. He has R2 with him, and he's in his X-Wing. The Rhodians that were attacked by the bounty hunter are confronted by another bounty hunter looking for the name of the rebel pilot, and that bounty hunter is, of course, Boba Fett. Possibly the most famous bounty hunter in all of Star Wars. Although, to be fair, I do have a soft spot for Bosk and Dengar, simply because I had their figures when I was a kid. We move into issue 5. Issue 5 finds Luke on Tatooine, trying to get answers, and Boba Fett is also looking for answers. He goes to the Mos Eisley Cantina, where he causes some shit. A young guy who knew of Luke in the past kind of makes a break for it, but Boba Fett captures him. We find out that Leia has convinced Han to go on one more mission with her to find a new planet that the rebels can set up a base on, and when this mission is done, he will get the parts for the Millennium Falcon. They are in a stolen Imperial shuttle. Boba Fett tortures the guy until he gets the name Skywalker, at which point he shoots the kid. Luke is wandering, going to Ben's hut in the Dune Sea. He is attacked by Tusken Raiders, very reminiscent of Attack of the Clones here. The Tusken Raiders kind of piss off after Luke scares them away. The Imperial shuttle is questioned by like the Empire. Han freaks out and ends up fucking the mission up, at which point the Imperial shuttle that they have stolen is attacked, leading Han to flee down to this planet, which he knows he's very familiar with. The TIE fighters can't actually follow. At this point, the bounty hunter that was looking for Han gets the signal and kind of heads off in that direction. Luke goes into Obi-Wan's hut, and while searching, he is attacked by Boba Fett, and thus ends issue 6. Boba Fett has the upper hand. He keeps kind of hitting Luke. He blinds him. Luke gets out his lightsaber, and the battle kind of rages on. It's pretty cool. I love that Boba Fett's trying to take him alive. That's why he's not using lethal force. And I love that Luke is kind of a newbie with the lightsaber, so to speak. So on the planet that Han and Leia are now stranded on, we reveal that this is one of Han's kind of safe houses. He has bottles of Corellian wine stashed away. He gives he gives a drink to Leia. The bounty hunter that is after him comes for him. Cut back to Tatooine. Luke and Boba Fett are still fighting. At this point, Boba Fett is like, fuck this. He's got to be alive, but he doesn't have to be walking. Luke uses his lightsaber and does all the cool deflection shit and ends up taking out Boba Fett. R2 comes to the rescue, throws the box that said for Luke. We don't know what's in it. Takes out Boba Fett, and Luke and R2 get away. Leia throws the wine back in Han's face. She's not having any of this shit. But at this point, a ship comes down and blows up the Imperial shuttle, thus stranding them. Who is in the ship? We find out it is Sana Solo, Han's wife. What? Han was never married. Well, we don't know what's going on here. All we know is she's tracked him down and she is pissed off. Luke opens the box to find it is Obi-Wan Kenobi's journal. Back on the Star Destroyer, we see Slave 1. Boba Fett has gone back to Vader with the name of the pilot. It is Skywalker. So Vader now knows Luke and his origin. And we see, using the Force, the cracks appearing in the transparisteel glass. And that is the first 6 episodes of Star Wars comic. We get some alternate art. Vader. Shattered Empire. Princess Leia. Classic Marvel adaptations of the original trilogy. That might be cool to read and review. Star Wars Aftermath. Great book. That whole trilogy is really cool. Okay. That was Star Wars Skywalker Strikes. What did I think of it? Fucking loved it. Absolutely loved seeing the old vehicles. I love the story arc that is taking. Could have done without Han Solo's wife appearing at the end. That's a little weird. Don't know how that's going to play out. But overall, pretty solid book. Fantastic art. Yeah, not much else to say. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, leave a comment in the sections below. Hit that notification bar so you don't miss any of our videos. But most importantly, and I cannot stress this enough, stay safe, have a fantastic rest of your week, and read a fucking book, people.